the next exercise has to do with the heart chakra. Okay, before I introduce that, we human beings, you probably don't know that, but we've got 4 wings, just like butterflies. Upper wings, notice my elbows, and lower wings. Of course it's not true, but for the next 2 exercises, it's kind of good to imagine it. So for the heart chakra, we're going to concentrate on the elbows, and notice the elbows are on the same level as the heart and the lungs. Good. Alright, we cannot go again. Good. Now, when you're going to concentrate on this area, it's not only when we breathe in that the lungs get oxygen, but also we're going to stretch that area behind the sternum. Behind the sternum is a very important gland. It's called the thymus gland. Now, they found out when they did these when they did anatomy in the 17th, 18th century, they found out that criminals or people that were not happy or people that came from asylums, that their thymus gland was atrophied, was kind of gone, disappeared. And of course, when people don't love themselves and when they don't love other people, the thymus gland, which actually creates those leukocytes that we need for our own defense system, if you don't love yourself and you don't love others, your own self-defense system for taking care of the stresses, also the invaders into our environment, they are not being reproduced. Okay. So what we try to do now with the next exercise, we're trying to re-stimulate the growth of our thymus gland. If you do this every day, the thymus gland actually increases. You will actually automatically start loving yourself more. Remember, it's on the level of the heart, and you know, they used to say you have to love your neighbors like you love yourself. Well, if you don't love yourself, how can you love your neighbors? So all this has to do with that we're gonna love ourselves, and in the first place, our body. Because if we didn't have a body, there would be nothing to love. So we put the arms like this. We're going to breathe in. The sound that we're going to make is a little lower again, but we first going to push out the sternum. And really concentrate on the sternum. Breathe in again. Push out the sternum. Notice as you do that, also notice now the ribs on one side. And breathe now into one side of the lungs. Then the other side. Oh, did you notice how long I held my breath in? That is so important. Those muscles between the ribs, right? They've got so much stress. The muscles between the ribs in the back, you know, people that do massage, they know that, right? They hold so much stress. They hold so many bad memories. You know, when you were spanked, when you had to carry your weight, when you were not allowed to be free and all that, when you had to be kind of down, that's all carried in those muscles, right? And now by stretching that, those negative feelings, those depressed feelings, you're actually going to press them out. You're going to dissolve them, and we're going to, tomorrow, pee them out through the kidneys and the urinal system. Okay, so let's do this again. For the heart chakra, first the sternum, then one lung. You may as well put out your wings. Remember, these were our wings, so you may as well put your wings out. We'll fly again. With this extra air, feel the wind coming through your wings. So good. Notice the back of your ribs, and the back of your ribs, the other side. Notice as you're doing this. Notice how your spine turns and twists. And you may actually feel, as you're doing this, notice I'm holding my head backwards. Notice as you're doing this, that some of your vertebrae may fall in place again. You may feel some clicking there. Oh, so good. Oh, neat. Oh, I love this. All right. Now this is for the heart chakra. Now that the blood contains so many of the waste products, we've got to get rid of it. And we know we've got some organs in our body that actually filter that out. The most important one is, of course, the kidneys, and then, of course, we also have the liver that also does some of the filtering and keeps just that gives us energy. Both of those organs in most human beings are very sluggish. You know, they just sit there, but because we don't move, we don't do exercise, just sit there as a blob. So what we're now going to do is we're going to see if we can massage them a bit. Your liver was already massaged by the previous exercise where you started to do this, right? And now we're going to pay attention to the kidneys. So let's first find where the kidneys are. So if you can put your thumbs above your pelvis, kind of close to the spine, and there's two soft spots there. For most people, those are not just two soft spots, they're a bit sensitive, a bit painful. That's where your kidneys are. And those kidneys, they're stressed. They get so much stuff going through them, but they haven't been able to really get rid of all those waste products yet. Okay. Alright. Notice those kidneys? Lean back a little bit. Alright, excellent. Good. Now, remember we have 4 wings. Now we're going to use the bottom wings. Notice the bottom of our elbows is at the level of our kidneys. We're going to do this, turning the torso, lean forward, lean backwards, go as far as you can. And now we're going to yawn, and the yawn is going to be really low. And when you breathe in, push out your belly. This also has to do with the diaphragm. Just, it's okay, push that belly out. That actually massages the muscles. It actually loosens up some of the fat. By the way, let's just take a break for a second. I already talked about that your brain is mostly cholesterol, right? Fat cells. The cholesterol in our blood is of course cholesterol. But the fat around our intestines, the closest to the intestines, is also cholesterol. So in a way you could say that is the cholesterol. It's like the body brain, and in your head you got your mind brain, and that fat that we have here around it, I'm not saying about the excessive fat that we may have, but the fat that's close to the intestines, that fat is supposed to be picked up by the blood, moved through the veins, then sent to the brain, and that is then supposed to be replacing those brain cells that we just squished out in the first exercise. So the blood actually, most people think, well, why do we yawn? No, we yawn to bring oxygen to our brain. But it's actually not so. It's kind of a little bit stupid to say that. If you would say, why do all those trailer trucks go to town? Well, and if you say, well, they go to town in order to bring gasoline, right? Of course, that's a bit silly to say that. It goes to town and it uses gasoline to bring the building blocks, the stuff that they want to buy, you know. Right? And it's the same with the blood. So the blood uses oxygen to go to the brain, to prepare the brain to open up its doors, and once the brain is opened up, then the food stuff for the new brain cells can actually replace the brain cells. And that is potassium, sulfur, phosphorus. Well, there's a few more. Anyway, all that contains those building blocks for the new brain cells.